Welcome to Notts County Talk for maybe the first time this pre-season. I think we did a phone in a while back. We have a video. The season is upon us. It is not far away. I am very, very excited for what's to come. Optimism from a Notts County point of view, but we have a few guests with us this evening. We have Sam, who's representing Bradford, Ben, who's representing Fleetwood, Seb, who is representing Walsall, and Liam, as you can see, is representing MK Dons. I haven't done my pre-season predictions yet, but I'll give you a hint. I've got one of you four to finish in second place this season, and you might be able to work out who it is. George, I know, has two of you to finish in the top three, which will be interesting. But yes, so this is a new show on the channel. The final Sunday of each month, we're going to have a host of League Two content creators on. As I've already said, we have four of us this evening. So I'll let you take it away, guys. Let us know a little bit about your channel, and the links for all of them in the description. So Ben, I'll let you kick off. Tell us about your channel.
Yeah, been going a long time, really. But I mean, properly, kind of started off with a bit of Fleetwood content as a bit of a laugh, as a joke, just filming goals and filming the best of the chance. And then kind of as I took it more seriously, kind of more reporting on the games and then reporting on the League One kind of stuff as well, and a bit of an overall of the EFL. League One was kind of the one where Fleetwood were in it, so I covered it, and we're in it for a decade. But now, obviously, I cover League One, and I'm doing some League Two content this year as well to cover Fleetwood and to cover all your guys' teams as well. So, yeah, I do like live streams on the different divisions, different kind of videos per week, and match day vlogs are on the football club.
Fantastic, Sam.
Well, I think my first video on this channel were 2015, just again generic content, and then I kind of went down the Bradford City route around 2016 sort of time. Then I started going more regularly home and away. 2018 season we got relegated, and then probably say post-COVID it's been much more trying to professionalize it as best as possible. My channel does mainly focus on Bradford City. There's a lot of League Two content in there, and I've tried to expand it into the wider football opinions really over the last couple of seasons as well.
Nice one, Seb.
Yeah, similar to these lot. I started 7-8 years ago, just doing content for my own club. Branched out into a bit of League Two content now, and yeah, obviously we've also been stuck in it for way too long. So hopefully we'll get out soon.
Maybe we'll go on to it. Maybe it's your year this year. We'll see what you think. And Liam.
Yeah. Unlike these guys, podcast exclusive around MK Dons, self-described audio hub of the football club. Really have been going for 5 years now. Started off as the three of us during COVID, and now it's just myself and Joe with weekly uploads during the season, chatting about the club we all love. Fantastic.
Didn't get a Wimbledon channel on for this one pre-season, so we'll keep it nice. Right, guys, my first question. Out of 10, very simple one. Rate your pre-season. I'll kick off with Notts. In terms of me, I'm going 9. I think 9 for Notts. It would be a 10 if we had kept Maka. He's gone to Millwall. I don't know what you guys think about a reported £750,000 fee. For me, that's too low for him. I'd have wanted around £1 million for him at least. 27 years old, 72 goals. Something like that in 2 seasons for us. But I'm going 9 out of 10 for Notts. I think we're defensively we were a shambles last season. I've already said to Sam before we started, we've basically swapped Matty Platt and Aidan Baldwin. But I've got to go 9. I have to go 9 for me. Yeah, I have to. What are you guys thinking?
I'd probably say ours has been very, very underwhelming. I mean, based on what I've seen in the games, it's got to be maybe like a 2 or a 3 out of 10. We got beaten pretty comfortably by Chorley. It was a trialist goalkeeper who made the errors really, but we never really liked scoring against them. The week after then against Guiseley, very, very underwhelming. First half, Alexander came out and said it were a waste of time. And I know we're going into the games very knackered because they're doing double sessions basically every single day. We then had a game against the reserve side in Austria. Recently, we managed to just about beat them too, and I didn't watch it, but judging from the highlights, it seemed to be a little bit better. Alexander said pre-season to judge us after Austria, so I'm kind of waiting to really criticise them, but so far we never really like scoring. And I know you can use the excuse that it is only pre-season and they are there to build fitness exercise and all that sort of stuff, but with all due respect, Chorley and Guiseley, we should be putting up much better competition than what we did, and to be beaten pretty comfortably by both sides, it is very concerning.
Who else wants to go? I've got a 9. We've got a 2 or a 3 there. So
I think Fleetwood are. It's very difficult. I don't judge by results. We won 3-0 against Hearts yesterday. Fleetwood obviously got relegated from the league above, and we've had ownership issues, obviously a change of ownership issues, if you like. We've lost 15 players, including loanees, and we brought in 6. So the squad's a bit smaller. I think we've got 17 players. We've got rid of players that were deemed as bad eggs in the dressing room, into other football clubs that have gone to League 2, or some of them have gone to League 1 football clubs. Maybe on big wages, especially in January when you look at it. Your Jack Marriott, your Josh Vella, Jaden Stockley have all left. They're on big money, and you've got fees for them. Then you look at, we've got a fee for Junior Coturni, who wasn't in Charlie Adams' plan. You've got a good fee for Promise Omacheri, who is a good player, but over £500,000, maybe in 2 or 3 years. But for Fleetwood right now, that £500,000, we have to take that. The players we brought in, I think, have been good signings. I think Matty Virtue, Elliot Bonds, Mark Helmer, all excellent signings. Zach Medley. I still think Fleetwood are a couple. I think we're 2, maybe a defender away. We've got 3 good ones in Bolton, Medley, and Wirradu. I think Wirradu is one of the best players in the division. I think coming down, I think he's probably one of the best players that have come down that are still at the football clubs. And he's a pleasure to watch him. And I don't know how he's still at the football club. I think we need one more. We've got 3 young lads, but I think we need one more experienced one. I think we need a winger, maybe a couple of strikers. So I think so far we had to sell. That's realistic. The performances in pre-season have been good. I probably would say a 7 out of 10 because we're slightly short. But if you offered me this 13 weeks ago, you'd be at this point with these 6 players in, I would have snapped your hand off.
7. Decent. Seb?
Slightly underwhelming, but not really a disaster. I think, obviously, losing probably our key man last year, Hutchinson, bit of a loss, 15 goals, 11 assists. We obviously lost our keeper as well. Jackson Smith, he's gone to Barnsley. So we lost a few players. We have replaced them okay. We've got a few unproven players, and I think Connor Barrett looks a decent player, but obviously hasn't done it at this level. Charlie Lakin isn't a bad replacement for Hutchinson. Obviously, we've got Tommy Simkin in goal as well. He's an unproven keeper. He's still only 19. So I have to wait and see on that one. In terms of the games, we've done okay. Obviously, we've played some good sides. We've played the Villa. We played Birmingham yesterday. We've put in some good defensive shape performances. I think the real key area we've got to improve is, that going forward, them attacking chance we've got to put away. I think the front 2 really worry me now. We've signed Josh Gordon back, who scored 1 goal last season, which is just, I don't get it. And then obviously we've still got Jamil Matt at the club, who he can do a job for about 45 minutes, but he's knackered after about that, and I still think we could do better in that. So we've got to get in 2 strikers personally before Morecambe. But if you have to rate out of 10, probably say a 6 out of 10. Not too bad, but not the best.
Liam, yours has got to be high. It has to be high.
Yeah, similar levels to yours, Tom, to be honest, at a 9, I'd say. I think, if you had kept Max Dean, I think that it'd be a very clear and obvious 10. But I mean, the recruitment levels this summer have been absolutely ridiculous, and I'd definitely say at least top 2 in the league, if not the best in the league. The sort of caliber of player that's been brought in, but also the caliber of person as well. The likes of Offord, Kelly, Maguire, for some examples of players who have achieved promotion from this league or have gone to high levels of this league. They're captains, they're the leaders on and off the pitch, and I think at times is what we've been missing in these big games. Obviously, we're against Bradford on Sky for the on August 10th, and those sort of players are going to be needed in those sort of big occasions where we're in front of the telly, where big away crowds come to Stadium K like they always do every single season. And yeah, we've ultimately missed that, and now we've got the sort of infrastructure of a really, really good coach, a really, really good squad of players, and to make a perfect run at potentially getting into that top 3.
Just had a comment in here. Notts and MK to go up. Bradford finished mid-table. Sam?
Well, I mean, I can't say I disagree. I'd probably say somewhere around 10th at the moment. I just look at us defensively, and I just think we're so much weaker than where we were last season. Going forward, we look on paper stronger, but this Jake Young situation over the last couple of years has been so bizarre, and I just can't see him replicating that form at Bradford City. I think Dan Kent was so influential to that. Don't get me wrong, Jake Young is a good player, but he is largely unproven at Bradford City. But it's just defensively, we look so weak, and we're refusing to sign a left wing back. We're just trying to put square pegs in round holes there, and I think it's going to cost us again.
Yeah, Liam, I find it interesting, Mike Williamson, because when did he come in? When did he come in for you?
Oh, it
Just
was
before
like
Christmas?
October, November time, I believe. Yeah.
Because we when we were in the National League, we tried to.
Oh, was it? Is he gone?
Thought
Thought it was just me for a second.
I think the YouTube stream's fine.
Yeah, well, it's still live. I suppose I can talk about Alexander Williamson.
Do we take over?
I can talk about them if you want. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we actually were lucky enough to go out to Germany with Alexander and the squad for their sort of pre-season sort of tour, I suppose, in Germany. And yeah, I mean, as sort of Sam mentioned, it was very much focused on like fitness and making sure the players were physically fit for this League Two season. And I think obviously August went really, really well. We beat Wrexham, beat a few other teams who were up there in August, but I think the players just tanked out too early ultimately. And then that's led to us going to obviously someone like Mike, who is very much focused on getting the quote unquote MK way in terms of traditional sense and when it comes to progressive attacking football. And I think now obviously he's recruited a bunch of players that are actually his and not a group that he's inherited. And I think we've seen in the early pre-season at the very least. I know it's only pre-season, so pinch of salt, but particularly yesterday at Wellstone, we saw a really attacking, free-flowing side that are going to do well this season. Yes, we lost Max Dean, but I think someone in Matt Dennis, who's got 5 goals this pre-season already, at least for now, has seen taking a step up initially. And I think we're going to need a player like that in this squad currently. I know we signed Callum Hendry from Salford, but someone up top is really going to take the sort of reins in this sort of squad. And Matt's making a good case for that right now.
Who would you say most excited about?
What, in terms of the signings?
Yeah.
Oh, I say Liam Kelly. It's a bit of a spoiler in terms of my signing. But Liam is, well, obviously we saw him against Crawley against this last season. He tore us apart for 2 legs, and he's that type of signing that we really needed in that midfield ultimately. It's someone that can control the game from the midfield. And yes, we had Lewis Bate last season, but Lewis Bate, I think, and Liam Kelly offer 2 different sides of the game in terms of that leadership style, whereas obviously Lewis is still quite young in his career. Liam's very experienced and, of course, achieved promotion from this league last season. So he really is going to be a key part to the spine of the side and should be a massive compliment to the rest of the lads.
Yeah.
I've done 123 podcast episodes for Notts County Talk, and that's never happened. So let's say thank you to my phone's hotspot, because that's keeping me going right now. But yeah, I don't know if you heard, I was just saying I think Mike Williamson will do very, very, very well for you this year.
Yeah, we were just chatting about the comparisons of Alexander coming into Alexander leaving to Williamson coming in, and how the squad sort of there's been a lot more free flowing and attacking this year.
I do think though Alexander was never suited to MK.
No.
To Bradford. Bradford are now they're so desperate to get out of League Two. It's win at all costs, and it's they don't care how they play. They had obviously Phil Parkinson, Stuart McCall. Their football wasn't great, but it generally a lot of the time proved to get results. I think Alexander can get results, a bit like Paul Warne at Derby, but the football isn't exactly attractive. Where at MK Dons, it's kind of more, well, we want to play good football, but we will be patient for results. Whereas Alexander wasn't getting results and wasn't playing the style of football where when you're MK Dons, you want to be able to get players, make them better, sell them on, because if they're playing in a good footballing system, you look at your Russell Martins, you look at your managers you've had previously as well, Liam Manning as well. I think that he was never really suited, where I think the new guy absolutely is really suited down there.
What are people's thoughts about playing nice football in League Two? Can you get up playing nice football? Because Notts tried it last season and it was disaster. And I don't know if that's personnel.
I think sometimes you can if you're better than the opposition, but I think you need to adapt. And I think that another example of Graham Alexander, when he was at Salford, he tried to play this nice tippy-tappy football and it worked. And then you get to January, February, and no disrespect, at this level, the pitches aren't great at all. Let's be honest, you saw Bradford's last year. Fleetwood was cutting up like you wouldn't believe. In League Ones, League Twos, the pitches aren't. So you've got to adapt. You've got to be physical. You don't want to get bullied. So you need to have that area of physique about you, that area of strength and mental battle to go and win 1-0 ugly and be able to defend for 50, 55, 60 minutes and get through difficult moments. So I think you can, but you've got to have that other element in your side. I think it's 70% playing good football and 30% the mental side, because you realistically, I'd probably say you have a perfect performance maybe 5-6 times a season, but you'll probably win a lot more games gritting your teeth and getting through it.
Yeah, Sam, talking of good football, how's Bradford pitch? Because we couldn't play the football we wanted. Fair ball.
Well, I think he's had a lot of work done on it over the summer, but last season I think we played 2 or 3 games where the pitch was actually froze, so it just killed all the grass. And obviously, when you're playing on it, then every 3 or 4 days, basically, it kind of just meant that it never had any opportunity to recover. But on the possession-based style, we were very much a possession-based team under Mike Hughes, and it was nice to watch for the first couple of weeks of the season. But then when, like you say, the pitches started to cut up a little bit more, and also the fact that 95% of the opposition who come to Valley Parade will just sit in and defend. So it was just constantly passing it between centre-back to goalkeeper to the other centre-back, and there was never any progression with it. And it got so frustrating where we'd have 70-80% possession, but we'd have 1 or 2 shots on target all game. And that happened a good 5 or 6 times that season. Yes, we got into the playoffs, but we had a striker score 31 goals, and he basically scored every single chance that he got. And I feel like under Alexander, the fans are a bit more behind his football. Yes, at times he has made some really stupid decisions, like when we played Mansfield at home last season towards the back end of it, and they pumped us 5-1, and we dropped both Andy Cook and Brad Halliday, and we played a central midfielder at right wing back. He has made bad decisions, but in terms of his style of play, I think it's much more Bradford City. It's very similar to Phil Parkinson, much more direct, trying to get the ball out wide and get bodies in the box rather than just having more possession and for really the sake of it, because it felt like at times under Mike Hughes you were just passing the football just for the sake of it.
Yeah, see, that Alexander ball is better than Hughes ball. If you have any questions, like specific club questions, it might be a Fleetwood question or a Walsall question, or if it's more general about the league, drop them in the chat and I will put them to some of our guests tonight. I want to talk signings, because I thought with Mansfield, especially Wrexham and Stockport leaving the league, I thought we might struggle for some real top signings in League Two like we saw. I think there's been some unbelievable players come into League Two this year. So my question really to everyone is, who is your club's best signing this season? But who do you think the league's best signing is? I think it's a tough question.
I think Fleetwood, Mark Helm, I don't think Fleetwood have made a 9 out of 10. I think we've made 2 or 3 7s, a 6, and a couple of 8s. That's what I'd say. I'd say Mark Helm, Matty Virtue, Elliot Bond are excellent signs for what we want to do. I still think we're light in other areas. That Medley is a good signing. James Bolton's a solid 7 out of 10 signing. I'd probably say Mark Helm's probably our best sign. Obviously, Charlie Adam worked with him at Burnley, got him a move to Burton, and 18 months later is now managing him in League Two. I'd say the best signing, and we've just spoke about it where you had your issue, I think Liam Kelly, because I watched him in the playoff final live, and you watch him bits from League Two last year, and I just thought he controls games. Passing ability is unmatched. He can drive forward. He can do a Hollywood ball, but he can pass the ball 5 yards as well. He just looks effortless. And when you're a team like MK that wants to have 400-500 passes a game, and you in League Two, you're trying to kind of play chess, trying to get through the other and try and kind of unmatch the next move. I think Liam Kelly will be perfect. I think that is the best sign in this window. But there's been, like you say, a hell of a load of really good signings.
That has. Yeah, Liam Kelly's a shout. Who else have we got then? Who do we think is your club's best signings? Anyone else or the league's best signing?
I'd probably say for Bradford on paper, Anthony Sarcevic, but that's only because some of our other signings on paper look really poor. Neil Byrne, we've paid a fee for, and he's the wrong side of 30 and could barely kick a ball for Stockport last season. Aidan Baldwin, I mean, that just looks like a baffling signing. Callum Johnson on paper could be a decent player, but he seems to never be fit. And Tyreek Wright, I personally wasn't much of a fan of last season, and again, we've paid a fee for him. Sarcevic comes with good pedigree in pre-season. He's not stood out at all. He's gone missing quite a lot, but in terms of the league's best signing, I think it has to be George Byers. How Port Vale have managed to pull that off is ridiculous. There's been some really unbelievable signings at this level, like Sam Sherrin, for example. I think Ryan Crosdale as well, Rory Patton, just to name a few. But George Byers should be a League One player at the absolute minimum. So the fact that Darren Moore's convinced him to come down to League Two is absolutely incredible.
I know there's a fair few Notts fans watching. Aidan Baldwin, on his day, honestly, superb player. Excellent player. But his day is every other game. And I don't want to bash him because he's left Notts and he scored the 2 goals in the playoffs against Boreham Wood to basically keep us alive and get promoted that season. But he must have cost us 15 goals on his own last year. And I think we've definitely got the better end of the deal swapping him for Matty Platt. I would say so. But, you know, if you get him in a system where you say possession-based, if he's not passing the ball too much, then I think you'll be okay. I don't know if anyone's seen the highlights from our Shrewsbury game in the FA Cup last year. Wow. If you haven't, go and watch it. It's very interesting. Seb, who do you have as Warsaw's best signing, but also the league's best signing?
Got to be Uncle Albert Adama for us. I think just the calibre of the player. He was on trial with us. He probably hasn't got the legs to do, you know, your Saturday, Tuesdays every week, but the quality he still possesses, you know, them crosses into the box are outstanding. We just need someone on the end of them now, like you know what, I'd go out and sign Matt Smith on a 1-year deal personally. I know the wages might be high, but just imagine Adama off the right wing back whipping in for Matt Smith. It would be a lethal combination. Obviously, a little bit of question marks. Can he play right wing back? He's been a winger, you know, primarily in his career. So question marks on that 1-year deal. But if it helps us push up the league, you know, the quality of the player, I think, he's probably been our best signing. I think the best signing in the league, I'm going to throw forward Jack Payne. I think he's an outstanding player. I think he's one of the better players I've watched play. In the last, you know, few years I've been watching us in this league. He was outstanding at Swindon. He's really good at MK Dons. He reminds me very similar to a player we had at Oztuma. You know, the way he just, you know, moves with the ball, drives, dribbles, you know, agilely through players, and he can get in with goals and assists. He could probably play, you know, as an 8 or a 10. They've got a really good midfield there, Colchester now. I like Arthur Reed there as well. So, yeah, I think Jack Payne, really good signing that.
Liam, is your answer the same to both questions? Is it the same player?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was actually lyric about Liam Kelly earlier, and I would say he is our best signing by far. Obviously, we've had some fantastic signings this summer, but Liam will really take control of that midfield and I think bring the team together. I think in terms of the league, yeah, Sam Thompson and Byers, I think that signing is an absolute joke, and it has convinced me actually to put Port Vale a bit higher in the league than I had them initially. So, yeah, it's been some fantastic signings in the league this year, and should make it as competitive as last season.
Yeah, I would say Nott's best signing is probably Jacob Bedu from Morecambe. Just that bit of pace, because we play quite a high line. Well, I think we might change a little bit, but and then I've gone for the man in the centre of the thumbnail of this video, George Byers. I've got to agree with everything that's been said about him. How they've got him is outstanding. I would love Notts to have got him. Yeah, I think it's fantastic signing. So, Ben, you've got to head off because you've got your own show, haven't you, in a few minutes?
Yes.
So I'm presuming we won't be live when you're still live, still going on. So if you want to pop over to Ben's channel, have a watch of that. It's a League One show, Ben?
It is, yes. League One Sundays, League Two Mondays. So yeah, it's going to be a busy season.
We can all get prepped by watching the League One because we all think we're getting promoted. We can have a watch, get ready for next season, following season. But yeah, Ben, really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
And I'm sure we'll see you again in the season.
Thanks for having me on. Enjoy.
Cheers, mate. Oh, so I've now got the word overhyped written down. Is there a team you think are being completely are being bigged up too much. I can't wait to get mine in. I'm going to get some hate for this. I don't see Chesterfield winning the league. I really don't see Chesterfield winning the league. They're the bookies' favourites, and I'm not really sure why. I think there's some very, very strong teams in this league. Liam, MK, I think, are very strong. Port Vale is strong. I don't see Chesterfield winning it. So for me, they're overhyped. Straight after this, I'm actually filming our season predictions with George, and I'll give you a clue. I don't have Chesterfield top 3 either. That might be because Notts and Chesterfield don't get on, but I don't see them being up there. Mm-hmm. What about you guys?
I'm gonna chuck in the mix Doncaster, and my relationship with Doncaster fans isn't the greatest, right? But I just think obviously they lost some really key players who were massive for them in the second part of last season, and I look at Hakeem Badulican leaving the football club or not returning to the football club. That's a big loss. I know he missed the penalty in the second leg, but I just don't think they're replacing some of their signings of very much average League Two players. I don't know too much about the new goalkeeper that they signed, but obviously Lotatal last season was very good for them. I have concerns over Anderson and Wood as a centre-back partnership. I think, they're solid defenders, but if they come up against a nimble striker, I do think that they could struggle. And I just look at their squad depth, and there's not that much quality in the depth. Their starting 11 is very good. I think Owen Bailey's a very, very good midfielder, one of the best in this division, but I think they'll struggle in the big matches for me. So I'm going to shut Doncaster in as overhyped.
Before Seb or Liam go, that's a big shout. Chesterfield won't finish top 10.
Wow. Okay.
I think they personally think they will finish top 10. But that's a big shout. Maybe a Notts fan. I don't know. Nick, who do you support? Let us know. What do you think overhyped then, Seb or Liam?
I think a team won't finish top 10. I reckon Crewe are going to completely tank it this season. I think obviously after how last season finished, they didn't have the best form that they've left them, and they got into the playoffs. But again, they failed to see many senses against Crawley, and obviously losing your club captain whilst he was injured is a big indication of potentially where a project may go. And yes, Crewe have their fantastic youth academy, which will always produce talent, but ultimately you're going to need to get more players in from that to make it worthwhile. And I haven't really seen that this summer. Obviously, they could be completely wrong, and they've been quite successful in the last couple of seasons, but I think they're more likely to be a bottom half team this year than they are a top half team for me.
Fair enough. What do you reckon, Seb? Who are you going to attack?
Sam might add this one, but I'll probably go with Bradford. I think everyone just assumes they're going to, be in the top 7, with the stadium, the fan base. But like Sam has mentioned, I think you've brought in a lot of, overage players that just, coming to the end of their careers. I think you need a few more younger players come through the door, a bit more of energy. I think your only bright player at the moment, obviously, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Bobby Poynton's the only one that's got a bit of a spark about him. Andy Cook, he's not a player who's going to make things happen. He just wants the ball in the box. He's an excellent striker doing that, but still think you need a few more quality players in there. Will Alexander last the season? I think if you get off to a little bit of a slow start, pressure's on, isn't there? A big club like Bradford, but I think they're a little bit overhyped personally. Bradford, I think probably a mid-table finish at the moment.
Sam, you've got to be getting out of this league soon. You have to.
Well, the problem is at the moment and going into next season, the owner's finally decided to start talking, and he's made a load of promises, but so far this pre-season he's completely failed to deliver on a number of them, and the focus is now shifting a lot more on him. We saw protests start to happen last season, and I think regardless of how this season goes, there is going to be a big push for Stefan Rupp to sell the club, and he's come out and said he's going to be at more games and he's going to do X, Y, and Z. He promises a bigger transfer budget and more money to spend, but then we're scraping around at free agents and trialists and all that sort of stuff, and it's just a little bit confusing. And I feel like, say we're outside the playoffs after 20 games or whatever, there's not going to be a big push for Alexander to be out. Obviously, if we're near the relegation zone, then but I feel like the frustration will be more dictated away from Alexander going into next season unless something drastic really does happen.
Yeah. John's saying here, Notts fan says, think Chesterfield will hit top 3. I think it'll be interesting with Chesterfield. I do think it will be interesting. Is there anyone you fear for this season? Mine is Newport. I think they lost the final 8 games. They lost 10 of the last 12. I'm a big believer in some teams having hangovers, and like Liam said about Crew, I think Crew could face one a little bit as well. But I think that's an awful way to sort of finish your season. I don't feel like they're strengthened too much. I mean, I've just got my notes up here from the video on film with George shortly. You know, they've lost some big players, haven't they? And who have they put in there? Who have they actually signed that I think could do the business? Baker Richardson, if he doesn't come in and score from Crew, then I really do fear for them. So I've got those as my team to worry. Obviously, Morecambe are in there as well. But I also had Crawley bottom of the league last year. So what do I know about teams?
So did I.
I think most people didn't know.
Did anyone here not have Crawley bottom?
I also had Crew 23rd.
I had Sutton someone. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Crawley, but I definitely had Sutton.
Crew 23rd, Sam?
Yeah, I had Crawley and Crew bottom 2 last season.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Here's a question then from Chloe. It says, where in the table do you all think Morecambe will finish?
23rd for me.
23rd. Says, oh, is a team lower.
Yes, Newport.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Newport, yeah.
Newport. I've got to say the smart money would be to say Morecambe bottom 2. Bottom 2.
The thing with Morecambe is they've signed a lot of players who you don't think there's a lot of League Two quality in there, but Derek Adams always seems to perform very well at Morecambe. He always seems to get them out of it. And I feel like whenever there's expectation of one club to finish bottom, and everyone seems to think that, they never end up finishing anywhere near that. So I think they'll probably finish 16th to 20th. I think considering what's happening off the field, they'll be very happy with that. Points deductions obviously could dictate otherwise, but I just have a feeling about Morecambe that I don't think that should be in too much trouble going into the next season.
Fair enough. There's this one from Nick that says Accrington could be a shout for bottom 5.
Yeah, I don't mind that shout. Obviously lost a few key players, not really brought anyone in. It's one of those teams where they could maybe get to the bottom 2, but as we know with this league, there's usually one team in there that's in there for financial reasons ultimately. So you're kind of backing maybe one team to go down, and I don't think Accrington will be the worst team in the league on
I lost that bit of connection again. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, good, yeah.
Seb, who do you fear for?
Currently, I'd probably say Salford. I think obviously losing Alex Cairns in goal, they've lost Elliot Watt in the midfield. Matt Smith scored 25 goals. And it's going to be hard to replace some of them. I think they've brought some decent signings, to be fair, like Cole Stockton up top. A good all-round striker. Also, they brought in Ben Woodburn as well, you know, quite a high-profile name. But I don't know, something around the club at the moment. I think apparently the owners are not putting as much money in as they used to. So might be a different strategy for Salford next season. It could work, but on paper, I think some key departures are left there.
They've stagnated, haven't they? Completely stagnated. Yeah. I also have them as... I don't have them in massive trouble. I see them struggling a little bit. When the fixtures came out, who was your first fixture to look for? Mine was obviously Chesterfield, but who else?
I probably have to say Carlisle. I just think with what's happened with Bradford and Carlisle over the last couple of years, it had to be them. And the dates are not particularly amazing. I think we go to there in the middle of January, which we're guaranteed to lose that game 2-0. We always lose at Carlisle. And after the playoffs, the Harry Lewis saga and just everything, even the Jake Young saga in January with Paul Simpson coming out and basically criticising us for overvaluing. Like, he was our player. We could set whatever price that we wanted at him. For him to publicly come out and criticise, I thought that was really poor. But the relationship between the two fan bases is frosty, to say the least. And yeah, I'm looking forward to them games.
Mm-hmm. Liam?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, usually when I look for the fixture list, and we were lucky enough to be at the club on fixture release sort of morning, and I look for grounds I haven't been to, and there's not many in the league I haven't been to this season anyway. So Bromley is one that I looked at, and thankfully for us, that's mid-September. Of course, travelling to southwest London as play AFC is a big one for us as well. So those are like back-to-back aways for us. So we've got quite a hectic start to the month, and of course trips to the likes of Carlisle, etc., and of course Bradford, the northern aways for us, which are quite a lot of this season actually, are going to be they're always good fun. But yeah, mostly aways for me, to be fair. In particular, those two London ones.
So
Probably go with Port Vale. I think it's probably our biggest, rivalry in this division. Obviously, with them being relegated, I think we play them away after my birthday, so should be a good day. And we normally, get the easy 6 points over Port Vale. Obviously, fingers crossed that happens this season. I think we play them at home in April, but like Liam said, I do look to for the grounds I haven't been to Chesterfield or Bromley as well. So should be some good away days next year.
Do any of us meet fairly early on in the season?
We have MK first game.
First game of the season, yeah, on Sky, yeah.
Well, Seb, let's get a prediction for that. MK Bradford first game. Where's it at?
MK.
Yeah, they're probably battered Bradford. I'll probably say like 3-0, probably.
I'm gonna say a quick start from MK. I'm gonna say 3-1. 3-1 MK.
It could be an Alexander masterclass though. We end up scraping a 1-0 like we did at Wrexham last season in the last minute. But I think a lot of people probably back MK to beat us pretty comfortably. And with our defence on paper and how we performed in pre-season, I think you'd be daft to back against that, to be fair.
You get some mad results on the opening day though. You never know. Never know. Where are we? We're at Tranmere opening day. Seb, where are you?
We are Morecambe at home, I believe. So hopefully start off with a win.
Yeah, it could be a good time to play them. Here's a question. So, are you happy with your home kit designs? I don't personally enjoy Notts home shirt too much. I don't know if any of you three have seen it. It's got the big red John Pye sticker across the front that looks like it was added in the last second. I quite like the MK shirt, to be fair. Bradford's not too bad. And I can't recall the Warsaw, but are you guys happy with your shirts?
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's obviously it's a store, so it's a mixed bag half the time, and I think I'm a bit petty about the badge being printed on as opposed to being stitched on and things like that. But they try to get a bit of a retro feel to it in comparison with obviously the club being quite young compared to the rest of us guys on the call. And yeah, it looks all right. It's probably like a 7 out of 10 for me.
7, decent. Yeah, it's not a bad shirt. Seb?
Yeah, go on.
Go on, Sam. Carry on.
I think Bradford's it's newer because we've got the central badge, and I don't think we've certainly not had that anytime recently, so it's new. And I think with Macron, for the large part, the home kits have been at least a 7. I think I'd probably give this one maybe an 8.5. It's controversial, but I don't really like the centralized badges. I like it just to be plain and just stick to things normal. But the actual design of it, I quite like it. Stripes going down, but it's like mixed paint between the two, and it's not just you're plain stripes like what we have had previously. It kind of like merges very nicely. So I do think it is quite a nice kit, to be fair.
I'm with you on the badge. Centralized badge, I'm not a fan. Seb, you were going to say about yours?
Yeah, I think our solid attempt really. Gone for something different. We got a few stripes with it. I like the idea, but I don't think they've executed it as well as they could have done. I'd like the stripes to go, all the way through the shirt, because if you look at our shirt, we have like the stripe here, and it says Poundland, and then the stripe going back through. So it just looks like sponsors slapped on the shirt a little bit. We've got a nice collar as well. I think it's a buttoned up collar. So decent attempt. We've got Macron this season as well. Probably say like a 7 out of 10. Solid attempt.
Nice. And we're going to wrap up very shortly. I'm going to bring this question in. We have briefly discussed our transfer window, but I'm going to ask the three of you if you could sign one more player in one more position. Not to give in a player, but what position do you need to sign, or do you think you're now finished? What do you think? Liam, I'll go with you.
I think we are finished. I think if I had to sign a player in a position, it would be right wing back. I know Connor Evans is reportedly going to be playing at wing back when he is fit. He picked up a slight knock during pre-season, so there's a chance to see some sort of rotation there to kick off the season. But I think we need a youngster in that right wing back position, probably on loan, and sort of help provide a bit of squad depth and cover there. But outside of that, I think we're pretty much set.
Yeah, Sam.
Well, our window definitely can't be finished. We're still definitely a few players away. I think there's a few outgoing still to be expected. Alexander didn't allow Kevin McDonald to travel with the squad to Austria, which I thought was pretty poor considering he was the manager last season for a month or two, and we still expect Oliver to move on, but that looks quite unlikely. We definitely need to sign a left wing back. I know we've got Tyreek Wright and Lewis Richards who will play there, but we need a natural one who's, top class, someone like a Tom Pearce. We could probably do with another centre-back, to be fair. We've had, I think, Sam Graham on trial. He was with Fylde last season. We're probably going to get another goalkeeper in as well because our goalkeeper coach is our current backup, and we've got a young lad coming through, but he's currently injured. And with Sam Walker being 32 or 33, there's nothing to say that he could pick up a potential knock. So I still think we need another 3 or 4 new signings. Obviously, you're not going to turn down another striker, so that'd be pretty nice. But I think that's probably very unlikely, to be fair.
Sam Graham had 2 or 3 loan spells, if not, when we were in the National League. He's all right. I think he's a decent enough player. Seb, are you done? Or do you need someone else? What if you could have one position?
Striker all day. I mentioned it earlier. At the moment, we've got Jamil Matter scored 5 goals in the league, and then we've got Josh Gordon alongside him, who scored 1 goal. So it's the area of focus. It has been for a while since, Freddie Draper went back to Lincoln in January. We still haven't replaced it. Players I'd bring in, I wouldn't mind Mo Foulback. If there's an option to buy him, after, I think that'd be a great sign. He's still, 21 years old. I think he scored 13 goals last year, so he's still got room to improve. And if you want to go for more of an experienced striker, I said him earlier, I think Matt Smith, depending what he wants to do, though, I probably would say that one's a little bit unrealistic, but he knows where the back of the net is, and that's what we need. Probably need another centre-back as well. I like McKenty, the lad who scored 2 goals at Notts County last year. I like him in midfield. I think he's, really good with them light runs into the box, put some really good numbers up before he got injured. So probably another centre-back. Probably another creative midfielder as well. I think obviously we lost Hutchinson to Bristol Rovers. We probably haven't got an out-and-out number 10. We've got some good creative midfielders in there, the likes of your Jack Evans, Charlie Lakins. But I'd probably say they're more, number 8s in there. So I'd like probably a number 10 on loan potentially. But yeah, we've still got a lot of work to do before, for 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, very simple for me for Notts. I think we're pretty much done. We haven't replaced Maka. And we've just sent Junior Morales on loan to Dagenham. But I think there's enough goals in the team now. We've tightened the defence up. So we've got Jatta, who I know, Sam, were you at the game when Jatta scored? He's still pretty much unknown for us, but he looks a handful. Kevin Scott's coming back, so I'd get a young maybe striker from maybe a championship side, just as a little bit of backup, maybe for me. But I think we're almost done. We're going to wrap up with one final question. It's a quick one. You don't have to give me an exact answer. You could give me a range, but where do you see your side finishing this season? I will kick off with Notts top 7. That's all I'm going to give. Seb, Walsall.
Well, I think the minimum expectation for us next season has to be the playoffs, but I still think we're way off it, to be honest with you. Like I said earlier, we've lost a few players, brought in a few unproven players in, and I think strikers win your promotions at the end of the day. I know you've got to have a good defence, which we didn't have last season, to be honest, so we've got to work on that. But if you can get a good striker in, this, guaranteed score you 20, 25 goals, you're pretty much going to be up there. And I still think we're way off it in terms of that. Quality-wise, I'm a little bit unsure across the squad. I think we've got some good competition across the squad. I don't know if it's enough to get into the top 7. But I think the pressure will be on, our ownership this season, Trevella and the manager, Matt Sadler. I think if we get off to a poor start, I think we'll be under pressure. I think we've got to get off to a quick start, get out the blocks really well. And if we really want to, get out of this league, we've got to consistently be in the top 7, making a mark on the league. I know we went through a good run in February time, which got us into about 7th. But if you're consistently in there, like a Mansfield last season, it's much easier as a fan, really, as well. So if I had to give a prediction, I don't want to slip down the league, but for some reason this year, I just haven't got the optimism which I've had the other seasons, which we ain't done too much in them. But if I had to give a range, I'd probably say between 11th and 16th. That maybe scraping the top half. But at the moment, I'd actually say lower mid-table. But that could all change with a couple of strikers.
Fair enough. I've got you in that range for my pre-season predictions. Liam?
Yeah, I think the expectation and my prediction is top 3. I think we've had the best window out of the whole league. I think that sort of reflects in the squad that we've got now, and I think the spine's been overhauled, which I think initially could take a bit of time to get going, but once it gets going, I think it'll be one of the better sides in the league. And as we sort of mentioned at the top of the show, there's no Wrexham anymore, there's no Stockport, and there's no Mansfield, who are, you know, three sort of particularly, well, at least two powerhouses of this division. So the fact that, you know, maybe we're looking at maybe two, maybe three teams who you think could be up there permanently, I'd like to think that the MK are going to be one of those teams and sort of use that sort of heartbreak in the playoffs as motivation to get into that top three.
And Sam finishes off. Where are you going to finish?
Well, the expectation is to win the league, but realistically, I don't think anyone thinks that that's going to happen. We're probably going to finish just outside the playoffs again, like we have them for pretty much every season we've been in League Two. I'd probably say, I guess, probably around 10th, somewhere like that. Definitely between 8th and 12th, but probably somewhere around 10th.
10th. I've got all, where you guys have mentioned is exactly where I've got all three of you in my predictions, in that rough area. That has been July and the first episode of the monthly meetup. Some fantastic content creators joined us, so thank you guys. I know Ben has already left. We'll be seeing all of you hopefully throughout the season. Plus we've got some content creators from Port Vale, Gillingham, Wimbledon, a lot of them coming on throughout the season as well. Please do go in the description if you enjoyed any of this that we've chatted about today. Give subscriptions to Seb, to Sam, and to Ben, and also Liam. Your Spotify link is on there for the MK1 podcast as well. Please do subscribe to the channel to keep updated throughout the season, and we'll be back at the end of August for episode 2 of this series.